Hello, Martha MacGyver here. Today we're going to be making bone broth. You'll see I have 2 whole chickens. You want to try to get both of the chickens the same weight. This one is 5.70 pounds, and if they both are the same weight, this one's 5.41, so they're nearly the same size. If one is larger, you can put it in the oven sooner, but basically they're going to cook for about 20 minutes per pound. So if you can get them close to the same weight, it makes your life easier. I removed the giblets and got them all ready to clean and oil and season. So 20 minutes per pound. I wash the vegetables, get them nice and clean, cut the vegetables, cut more vegetables. These I'm going to place below the chicken, inside the chicken, on top of the chicken after it gets seasoned. And this is whatever seasonings you want to use are great. I oiled the chicken, then I boil the giblets. This time the treats are for my dogs, but I will put the necks in the bone broth. Here you can see my chickens are all ready to go in the oven. I tent the foil, I cover it for the most part, and then start my oven at 425, and as soon as I put the chicken in, I reduce it to 400. Then you want to let your chickens cook for 20 minutes per pound and take your foil off towards the end. Be sure to wash your tools, anything with raw meat, with hot soapy water, and for the last few minutes take the foil off. Now I'm going to be getting my pot ready I filter my water for my bone broth. One day I'll do a video on filtering my water. And I get that in the pot, get that warmed up. And here you'll see the chickens are finished. I allow them to cool down. I put the vegetables into the stock pot. I remove all the meat from one chicken. I'll put aside. All the bones, cartilage, everything else will be going into the pot. And here you'll see all the bones and cartilage. And once all your bones are in the pot, you want to bring it to a boil and skim the foam off the top. That helps to remove the impurities. And then lower it to a simmer, barely a boil, barely. Just a low simmer. Cook it for 12 to 24 hours. Honestly, the longer you can cook it, the better. 17 hours this particular batch cooked. It helps to extract slow release nutrients that just shorter cooking can't fully access. So some of the key benefits are collagen, gelatin extract from the bones, joints, mineral release calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, small but useful amounts. It increases the flavor depth. It's easier to digest with the proteins breakdown. The proteins break down the amino acids. Slow, barely simmering is what you want to do. It helps to preserve the nutrients and keep the broth clear. So you'll see later if your broth becomes like gelatin, like gelatinous, it is definitely a sign that you did everything right. So the gelatin helps provide glycine, proline, amino acids in the connective tissues, supportive structural protein. If at the end your broth jiggles like jello, you definitely had success. So gelatin, glycine, proline, glucosamine, chondroitin, all of this is what you're going to get, especially if you don't overboil it. Calcium, phosphorus, modest amounts, but still very highly absorbable amounts of calcium. You get the bones, the cartilage, magnesium, potassium. Here you'll see I added the rest of the bones, skin, cartilage, everything to the broth. And I'll bring it to a boil, skim the foam off the top, get rid of the impurities, and lower it, simmer it, cover it, and I let this batch cook for 17 hours. Once it's done cooking, you do want to let it cool, at least, down enough to be able to handle it. Scoop out the bones and then strain your broth so that you have the opportunity to let it get room temperature, and then you'll put it in the refrigerator overnight. And the next day I turn it off, let it get cooled down a little bit so that I can scoop out the bones and let it get to room temperature. Again, once you scoop out all the bones, you want to strain the broth, let the broth get to room temperature, cover it, put it in the refrigerator overnight. It's cooled down, ready for the refrigerator. And the next day you'll be able to take it out of the refrigerator. You'll see that all the fat rose to the top. That can be skimmed off and you can keep that. The fat has very good for like roasting vegetables or potatoes. It's good for sauteing onions or greens, for frying eggs, and it's very rich. It's nice to add to rice or soup. It's mostly monounsaturated fats. It contains fat-soluble vitamins that are stable, like vitamin A, E, K, that's stable for cooking. It lasts for weeks in the refrigerator, and it can even last for months in the freezer. I prefer to store everything in glass, but I sometimes use PBA-free plastic, doing the best that I can because I don't have that many containers. So skimming off the top, skimming off the fat, storing it in a glass container. I'll freeze it to shape, and then I'll have a nice block. I'll keep half in the refrigerator. That will last me a few weeks for other cooking that I do, and I'll have the other half in the freezer. Some tips: if you have the opportunity, add feet, backs, neck, wings, everything to help you get more cartilage in there. And if it shakes like Jello, you know you did it right. I left a tiny bit of fat in. I'll mix it in a minute, but here you can see my box. I have my bag labeled and stuffed inside of a box, which will make it easy for filling and sturdy. It'll remain on a nice shape in the freezer. Super thick. Yes, it'll thin up, but that gel, you can tell the quality with this. And when you heat it up, it'll definitely be like soup. So in this particular case, I'm adding the broth. I'll add the vegetables and chicken. And then if I want, when I'm heating up the soup later, I can always add some brown rice or, you know, something, some kind of carbs. I can add some egg noodles or something like that to it if I wanted to. And as soon as I get the bag filled up, again, I'm going to add chicken, veggies, and freeze it in little blocks in my freezer. I added the vegetables. I have carrots, celery, onion, a little bit of garlic, just whatever I had on hand, a small amount of peppers. And now I'm adding a generous portion of chicken. Say it's about 4 servings worth. Then I'll zip up the bag, make sure all the air's out, and freeze it in a little block. And it'll eventually look like this. This is a ham bean soup, but you can see the shape and size. It stacks real well in the freezer. You can stack things up next to each other. Looking in my freezer, I remembered one other thing I like to do. This is the spinach. I had that big plastic container of triple washed organic spinach, and I only used about half of it in my recipes the other day. So something I find real easy to do to get rid of the big container is put it into a smaller PBA-free plastic bag and freeze it, because when you freeze it, it's really easy to crunch it up and be able to add this. So I'm also going to add this spinach to my chicken soup. All right, I'm going to mix it all together, zip up the bag, get the air out, and put it in the freezer. Okay, zipped it up, got all the air out. Make sure my label is showing. And reform the box, put it in my freezer, and take it out of the box, and I'll have a nice cube of soup ready that will fit into my pan when it comes time to reheat it. And here you'll see a slab of, this is turkey broth, so I'll make other chicken broth in smaller portions for like to sip, to drink, to add to other recipes. You can measure it out if you want. What I do is I put a plate in the freezer and I set the bag on the plate, and that way these stack up real nicely. So I can use this for soup for Thanksgiving. I did bone broth with the leftover bones. I had a large organic turkey, and I saved some turkey. I cut up some fresh vegetables, got all the air out, put them in the freezer, and we'll have some turkey soup, turkey broth, or use it to heat up rice or in other recipes. So turkey broth and chicken bone broth. As a quick reminder, roast your chicken 20 minutes per pound. Let it cool a little bit. Take the meat off, debone it, put your bones, skin, cartilage, everything in the pot. Cook it 12 to 24 hours. First, bring it to a boil. Skim the top. Once you skim the top, get the foam off, removing the impurities. You're going to reduce the temperature, get it to just simmering, barely a boil, still but almost a boil. After your 12 to 24 hours, mine was 17 hours, put it in the fridge overnight, let it cool, skim the fat. You can save that fat, have it for other uses. And one other top reminder that I did not mention, in the broth you might want to add 1 to 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. It helps to extract the minerals even better. I hope you enjoy your thoroughly nutritious bone broth, soup, whatever you make out of it, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Look forward to seeing you the next time. Hey, and let me know if you'd like a water filter video.